Hello everyone, welcome to FTE. Feel the English, feel the fragrance of learning. This is Ahmed, your presenter. Today we are going to discuss the metaphysical poets. The metaphysical poets in the history of English literature are a group of poets having a special domain in this field and containing special features of poetry creation. The metaphysical poets. The term metaphysical is a broad one that means differently in different fields of study. Generally, metaphysical means dealing with the relationship between spirit to matter or the ultimate nature of reality. When we say metaphysical poets, we think of some well-known poets of the 17th century English literature. Most notable of them are John Donne, Abraham Cowley, Henry Vaughan, Richard Crashaw, George Herbert, and Andrew Marvell. These poets are called metaphysical poets because they connected human passion and emotion with the physical world in a sense that the things of nature like the sun, the mountain, etc. are living and fresh and able to connect their ways with human emotion and feeling. Physical world is compared to human emotion, passion, and feeling to reveal the priority or importance of love, devote, honesty, holiness, etc. The metaphysical poems were often presented in the form of an argument, and the use of cynicism was common in the poems, especially of John Donne, the most talented and genius of the metaphysical poets. The use of paradoxes, puns, and conceits are very common in the form of ordinary speech in the poems. The essential element of the metaphysical poetry is metaphysical conceit, which is a comparison of the human emotion and feeling to the physical world, and is more powerful in its attempt to fill the argument. Though the comparison sometimes becomes non-realistic due to the illogical sentiments in a very logical manner. The metaphysical poetry was a new movement in the English literary history, expressing the emotions in a new way of comparison and connection with the physical world or metaphysical sense. Now, among the metaphysical poets, John Donne is considered as the most talented and the master user of conceit. His love lyrics and holy sonnets are amazing in the expression of cynicism, emotion, inner feeling, and the thought. John Donne is the most notable of the metaphysical poets. He was the master user of conceits, and his works are remarkably witty, employing paradoxes, puns, and subtle yet remarkable logic. He gave life to the physical dead materials and established the importance of human emotion and feeling. His arguments are logical in passion and representation rather than experimental or in the sense of science. He used the term metaphysical to relate to the subject matters of his poems to the fullest and evoked human interest and curiosity. Metaphysical conceits are greatly used to have a soulful argument or comparison or connection with the physical world. The connection between the human feeling and emotion with the metaphysical world. The new way of expression of the inner feeling and emotion in the form of good poetry. In Donne's lyrical poem, Sweetest Love, I Do Not Go, he expresses, we can understand his uses of uh, conceit, puns and paradoxes. Yesternight the sunny went hence, and yet is here today. He had no desire nor sons, nor half so short way. Then fear not me, but believe that I shall make superior journeys, since I take more wings and spars than he. In these lines of the love lyric, Sweetest Love, I Do Not Go, Donne expresses his inner feeling of love for his beloved. That though he was leaving his beloved for a short time period due to some emergency, but he tries to console his beloved that he would return from his journey soon and meet his beloved with the best moment of their life. And in this process of consoling, he used the conceit of the sun. The sun is the source of all energy and power in the nature. But it is not alive in nature. It is not alive. The sun has no wishes, no desire, no feeling, as we human beings have. But here in these lines, Donne has presented the sun in that sense that the sun is also a part of nature like us. Yesternight the sunny went hence, and yet is here today. The last night the sun was not here or in the sky, or was not in the appearance of our eyes. But today, that is when the poet was trying to console his beloved that day. Today the sun is here. He had no desire nor sons, nor half so short way, then fear not me. That the sun has no desire, it is clear, no sons, it is also clear. And his way is not a short way, the way is very long, scientifically and experimentally, nor half so short a way. Then fear not me. Then the poet says to his beloved not to fear for him, but believe that I shall make superior journeys, since I take more wings and spars than he. The poet here proclaims that he includes more wings and spars than the sun. These wings and spars are metaphorical in nature. These wings and spars also directs to the desire and sense. That is why in the first portion of these lines, we can imagine the sun is desireless, senseless, no sensation, no desire. But when we study the latter lines of these lines, then we have the idea that the poet tries to enforce the idea that maybe the sun has desire, wings, sparks, but the poet is more powerful in this sense. By the way, what the poet actually wants to mean here, that is not the matter, but he proclaims that he has more wings and spars than the sun, so he can easily make speedier journeys than the sun. The sense is metaphorical. It is impossible in reality that the poet can make a speedier journey than the sun. But in that sense, that he can come back to his beloved, he can come closer to his beloved before the sun arises, in the sense of emotion and desire, feeling of love and remembrance of his beloved. Yet the passion and feeling of the poet himself has been compared to the sun, which is dead and non-living in sense and emotion and feeling, though it is the major source of all energy. Here the sun is powerless before the importance of love, before the strength of love. It is the strength and energy of love. Again, when we see the holy sonnet, "Thou hast made me" by Donne, here we can see the lines that not 1 hour I can myself sustain, the grace may wing me to prevent his art, and thou, like adamant, draw mine iron heart. Here the poet praises his Lord, the Almighty God, to save his soul from the clutches of the devil, from the temptation of the devil. And the poet compares his body as iron, or his heart has been compared to iron, and the power of God, or the blessing or mercy of God, has been compared to a giant magnet, which can easily attract the poet's iron heart, or which can easily pull the poet's iron heart and save him from the temptation of the devil and save him from damnation. So the God's grace or blessing and mercy has been compared to the giant magnet, which is a matter. The emotion has been compared to the matter, and the poet's heart is compared to iron. His heart is iron heart. It is iron heart because his body and his heart or mind have become heavier than the earlier due to the accumulation or summation of sins committed by him, due to the due to the temptation of the devil, the Satan. So this heavy body can be drawn only by the grace of God. Otherwise, the poet must have to damn and enter the hellfire. So this is the style of Donne, amazing and full expression, and the sense of fear and cynicism, and in the other sense there is the expression of hope in the end of the poem. It is Holy Sonnet. Okay. Now Abraham Cowley, 1618 to 1667. Abraham Cowley, as a metaphysical poet, is considered next to John Donne. Cowley was a scholarly and learned poet. The Mistress is his masterpiece, which is a typically metaphysical poem. He wrote a number of elegies, songs, and religious poems. His chronicle was appreciated by Dr. Samuel Johnson, for its gaiety, facility, and dance of words. Cowley, in Samuel Johnson's words, was the leading light of the metaphysical school of poetry. But of course, he missed the religious feeling in poetry as felt by his contemporaries Crashaw, Herbert, and Vaughan. Henry Vaughan, 1622 to 1695. Henry Vaughan was a disciple of George Herbert and followed his master, that is, George Herbert, in creating poetry, though sometimes he skipped Herbert's complicated verse forms. His best known poems is The Retreat. The Retreat reveals a common but sensitive fact that we human beings are closer to God in the childhood days, but as we mature, we forget the grace of Him. The poet therefore requests his readers to return to the way of God. Richard Crashaw, 1612 to 1649. Richard Crashaw was the most daring of the metaphysical poets in his imagery. That is the use of imagination in the form of pictures. Imagery, that is the expression of a feeling, particular feeling or emotion rise in the heart in the form of imagination or images, that is imagery. His imagery are amazing and excellent, and his verse alternates between sublimity and uncertainty. His best known poems are The Tear on the Blessed Virgin's Bashfulness and Upon the Body of Our Blessed Lord. Now George Herbert, 1593 to 1633. George Herbert, one of the metaphysical poets, has greatly expressed the beauty of holiness more perfectly than any other English poet. When he was at Cambridge, he already was writing religious verse. He entered the Church of England and became rector at Bemerton near Salisbury. His first biographer, Ian Walton, called him Holy Mr. Herbert. His volume of poetry, The Temple, came out in the year 1633 and made disciples of Crashaw and Vaughan. It had a large scale. Although he was a follower of Donne, there is a sweetness and saintliness peculiar to Herbert's poetry. In common with other writers of this metaphysical school, there are often startling images in his poems. Andrew Marvell, 1621 to 1678. Andrew Marvell is in something of a class by himself and is a kind of forerunner of the classicism that was to come later in the century. He was a man of such scholarly attainments that he won the praise and friendship of John Milton, the great poet in English literature, who became blind. And after Milton became blind, Marvell was appointed as the great poet's, that is, Milton's assistant in affairs of state in 1657, and 2 years later he was elected to the parliament. His most celebrated poems are On a Drop of Dew, On a Drop of Dew, and The Garden. So it was the discussion of the metaphysical poets who made a great contribution to the English poetry, a new form of creating poetry or composition of poetry, the expression of inner feeling and emotion with the comparison of the physical world or metaphysical world, with the sense of nature of reality, expressing the inner feeling and emotion, with the use of Pan's paradoxes, cynicism, and the most importantly, the metaphysical conceit, the comparison of the human passion and feeling with the physical world. Though the term metaphysical can be used differently in different fields of study, but in the English literary history, it is the term that connects these poets of the 17th century: John Donne, Henry Vaughan, George Herbert, Richard Crashaw, etc. And out of all these poets have made a great contribution to this field of English poetry. We can enjoy and imagine the sense of love, honesty, devoutness when we read these poems. So thank you for watching this video. Please keep supporting us. Don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon to have a support. And if you like this video and if you have learned something from this video, maybe little something, you should like this video and share with your friend. So please subscribe and share. Thank you for watching once again. Have a nice day. May God bless you. Bye bye.